Hi, my name is Chris and this is Battle Nonsense. From Wednesday to Friday, DICE tested tick rates higher than 30 Hz on a Battlefield 4 server in retail. And this means that it should hopefully not take very long until admins on PC can finally order tick rates higher than 30 Hz from their game server provider. But besides running these tests in retail, the developers were also very busy implementing even more changes into the CTE, which will be part of the upcoming fall patch. Now, since the changelog is again very long, I will do the same as I did in my previous video and not tell you all the boring little numbers, like that the M320 Dart now has a pallet cone of 2.0 instead of 2.5. What I will do instead is give you an overview of what changed and explain the intention behind that change, so that you get a better idea of what to expect when you play in the CTE the next time or what is included in the fall patch. So let's begin with the community map project, where the designers keep polishing the game modes, destruction, performance and the visual appearance of the map, as well as the ambient sounds. The terrain and the river also still receive updates, so that in example the boat is not just a gimmick on the map, but actually useful and a good option to transport your teammates through the jungle. Speaking of the jungle, playing on the community map really takes me back to Battlefield Vietnam and makes me wish that DICE would give us a remake of that game. Speaking of that, the designers did include a nice surprise on the community map. When you walk up to this crashed helicopter, then you will now find an M60 pickup weapon, which is hipfire only and appears to have somewhat explosive ammo. A nice detail is the grenade icon from Bad Company that you can see here, but I fear that this sadly does not confirm that Bad Company is in development already. Or maybe it does? Then the netcode received a couple of changes, which primarily focus on making the game work correctly at tick rates higher than 30 Hz. The developers also added new attributes to the game server so that its currently active tick rate is exposed to the server browser, which means that we can actually see the tick rate of a server before we join it. This is really useful because some admins in retail already put 60 Hz in the name of their game server to attract players, while the servers still all run at just 30 Hz. What is not clear yet is if we also get a high tick rate filter option in the server browser, but I really hope that the developers from the Uprise studio can add this, because this will allow us to find the high tick rate servers much easier. The network graph also changed again, and it's possible that we see even more changes during the next 2 weeks, which means that I will not begin to produce that net graph video just yet, as I want to wait for the developers to finish their development first. Now let's move on with the vehicle changes. The aircraft glass received quite a big change as the developers made it bulletproof. This means that you should no longer get shot out or blasted out of your cockpit, but HMG and miniguns will still deal damage on the glass, just not as much as before. The amount of protection the glass offers to the pilot also differs between vehicles, so that the Z11 has stronger glass than the AH6, which is meant to balance out their different sizes. This bulletproof glass is also still a prototype, and currently sniper rifles are not able to shoot the pilot through the glass. But the developers want to make sure that this is possible again once they found the issue that causes blast damage to go through the glass and damage the pilot. Also, pilots will be interested to know that the anti-air mines now deal 210 instead of 150 damage, so you better keep an eye out for them. On the positive side, the flares should now protect you better against passive radar missiles and the Igla, and maybe also slightly better against heat seekers and the Stinger. Speaking about Igla and Stinger, engineers are no longer able to fire their launchers from passenger seats of vehicles. This should help with the highly overpowered scout helicopter, where the passenger seats were essentially an additional weapon slot. Talking about launchers, the designers increased the blast radius of the AT4 to improve its performance against infantry. Since I'm not a fan of any of the pickup weapons in Battlefield 4, I'm curious to see how that will affect the gameplay. Continuing with the vehicle changes, the RIP got a quite significant health increase, and miniguns that are mounted on boats also deal slightly more damage now. Speaking of miniguns, the designers reduced the range of all miniguns so that the damage now drops between 200 to 300 meters, while previously it was at 250 to 500 meters. Then all mobile anti-air vehicles can now climb mountains better, and the smokescreen radius was slightly increased. The M-Track got its health value increased quite significantly by 25%, and the designers enabled the top attack bonus on that vehicle. Attack boat drivers have to prepare themselves that the angle multipliers have been changed slightly. This means that if something hits you from a good angle, then this will deal more damage than it did before, while hits coming from a bad angle will deal less damage than before. But that's not all. The 25mm cannon has been rebalanced to be focused on taking out infantry, while the 30mm cannon is meant to be used at close ranges against ground vehicles. The burst cannon on the other hand has a good range and delivers a lot of damage when used against aircrafts, so that's what you should use it for. Also, the attack boat's laser guided missile now has 2 magazines which auto-replenish after 15 seconds. Sticking with the vehicle changes, the main battle tanks received quite a lot of changes. It looks like the designers have replaced their engines, as the Abrams now has a top speed of 62 instead of 53 km per hour. The T90 has 57 instead of 54, and the Type 99 now has a new top speed of 60 instead of 54 km per hour. Then the designers decreased the top damage multipliers of all tanks to increase their survivability on maps that have a lot of verticality, while they increased the front damage multiplier. So as a tank driver, you now need to worry a bit less about the players above you, but you should keep a closer eye on what is going on in front of you. On the weapon side, the developers changed how the AP and sabot shell affects helicopters to give them a better chance to recover from a hit instead of causing them to crash. Then the guided shell has been turned into a weapon that is good at long range, similar to a laser guided missile. Also, the amount of damage that it deals is no longer linked to how it hits the target. Since the sabot shell already covers the anti-armor role, the designers have decided to change the high explosive shell so that while it deals less damage against vehicles, it offers better damage against infantry than the AP shell. And it is also very good at destroying cover. The staff shell has been turned into a close to medium range weapon that is able to deliver critical damage to enemy vehicles, but you have to use it wisely as it has a low ammo count. The driver's heavy machine gun now deals less damage, has a lower suppression effect and overheats faster. But its projectiles have a higher velocity now, which should make it clear that it is meant as a long-range alternative to the light machine gun. The driver's LMG on the other hand can now be fired longer, as it will not overheat that fast anymore. It is meant to be used as a reliable and easy anti-infantry weapon. Then there were some changes done to the smoke screen, which affects all vehicles to which it is available. So when you activate it, then it has 2 different effects which both last for 7 seconds. The first one is that inside the radius where you activated it, your vehicle will take minimum damage from weapons that deal damage on impact. The second effect is that you can no longer be spotted through the smoke screen, and all active spots will be removed. Now moving from the vehicle to the infantry changes. The elevation feature of the minimap, which is meant to show you if a player is above you or below you, has been changed slightly and now differs from the implementation that Hardline uses. This means that when a player is above you, the icon will be slightly larger and transparent, and when he is below you, the icon will be slightly smaller and transparent. Infantry players will also notice that the M18, 40mm and the XM25 smoke grenades now unspot players when they explode. This is a great change or bug fix, as previously you could still see the 3D spotting triangles through the smoke sometimes, which did defeat the purpose of the smoke. Then the UCAV has been made weaker against vehicles, especially aircrafts, while the time it needs to replenish has been reduced to 40 from previously 60 seconds. The M320 3GL now has 1 additional magazine, higher velocity and higher blast damage, which means that it is able to deal significant damage with all 3 shots combined. The M320 Dart now fires more pellets in a tighter cone, but deals less damage. And to be more in line with other shotguns, the designers increased the accuracy of the M26 when you move and aim. The following will probably upset quite a few players, because C4 got its damage reduced and also needs longer to resupply now. The designers made this change because they argued that it was too easy to destroy enemy vehicles with C4, due to how far you can throw it and reactive armor not blocking the damage. Then the mortar can now be used after just 15 instead of 30 seconds, and you will automatically get a new one after 60 seconds. And lastly, the resupply times for most gadgets were changed for the ammo box and the ammo pack. Here I would like to propose a slightly different mechanic. I do see the issue of people standing on top of an ammo box and have it resupply ammo and gadgets quite fast. Just like the issue we had with players standing on a medic pack and get healed while they take damage. Now, what I would like to propose is this. As long as you stand next to an ammo box or medic bag, it will do its job automatically, but really slow. If you want to get healed faster or get ammo quicker, then you have to get very close to the ammo box or medic bag and then press and hold the interact button. When you do that, then you will see that your soldier puts his hands into the ammo box and takes ammo out, or that he will start to take some bandages out of the medic bag. This will then resupply and heal you much quicker. But the trade-off is that while you do that, you cannot use any of your weapons. So you have to decide if it's worth the risk. What do you think about such a mechanic? Would you like it or would you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's all that I've got for you today. I will keep you updated on the progress that DieSelect makes with the fall patch and the testing of the high tick rate in retail. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, have a nice day and take care. My name is Chris and this was Battle Nonsense.